Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spooky Stories video. I don't know what this is even called. Today I'm sitting by this fire. It's a very spooky atmosphere in Duskwood. There's the warmth of the fire. These raven birds are flying around.
Oh, hey, Crendor, what's up?
Oh my God!
Oh, dude, how's it going? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to give you such a big spook, but I felt like I should join in.
You did.
Do you mind?
Hey, I mean, that's fine with me. Come on down to the fire.
Oh, dude, perfect. Oh, so chilly out there.
Yeah, it's very chilly.
Fall weather. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like, it's
man.
almost like that wasn't playing, but like, it's just, whew, I'm glad it.
What do you mean?
I just mean, I'm glad it wasn't playing. I'm glad it was just an organic thing that
It
happened.
was purely spontaneous.
Yeah.
Continue your intro.
Okay, anyway, hey everybody, it's Hollow's End. I have the Headless Horseman mount, as you can see here. It's a very good mount. On my EU account, I don't play.
It's the only amount I want, guys. It's the only amount I want. He's got it. It's not fair.
Well, you're gonna have your
But do you have
chance to
this
get
thing?
it. I do actually have that.
God! Actually, yeah, everyone pretty much has that thing.
Yeah.
The Dread Wake.
Dude, I got the what's that stone? The stone drake from Deep Home, the like rare one that flies around.
You mean the not cool mount?
It's fine. It's whatever.
That not cool mount. Yeah, I know about it.
Yeah. Anyway,
we're not having a mount off. We're here to tell scary stories for Halloween.
For Halloween, Hollow's End.
Hollow's End.
Yeah, they're the same thing. So
Yeah.
I was like, hey, we should tell some scary stories in honor of that because I think it'd be a fun little video to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, are we gonna release this on Halloween or when are we?
I think we should release it probably a week before, because then I think it's better. It's like Halloween specials. They usually air like a week before, because you're in more of the mood. When you release it on Halloween, most people are already celebrating, and then like by the time they get home, they're like, I don't want to watch this shit.
Dude, remember the Halloween specials on Cartoon Network growing up?
Oh my God, yeah. I love like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah. Do the Ed, Ed, and Eddie Halloween special. Yeah. It's so cool. Oh man.
Dude,
great.
There's so many good ones.
Yeah. But well, this is our special.
Yeah.
So let's make it special.
Let's make it special.
All right, guys. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what you're gonna say. Me and Crendor are gonna tell some scary stories. All right. So we've brought some scary stories today. But the question is, who tells their scary story first?
All
right, I've got it. Actually, I don't got it. All right,
this old burrito, so you go first.
No. I'm gonna put. All right, I'm gonna put some fingers up, and you're gonna guess how many fingers I'm holding up, and if you get it right, then I go first. But if you get it wrong, then I go first, and you get 2 guesses. All right, ready?
Okay.
All right, go.
2.
Damn it!
Wow.
Okay. All right, so I guess I go first.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Eat your burrito, you fat slob. All right.
I'm a Warcraft player.
Okay, all right. My friends, welcome to Scary Stories with Nixxiom.
Yay!
Shh. Talking. All right. So I told this story recently on Twitch. So if you're a Twitch watcher of mine, then I apologize for the repeat. But you know what? That's okay. So here we go. Crendor does not know this story, and that's what matters. This is the story of a naughty little girl.
What?
A long time ago, there was a young girl, Crendor, and she was very naughty, right?
Okay.
She didn't have a good relationship with her parents. She was always talking back, always just being a real big pain. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't try well in school. She didn't like put her heart in anything. She was just like that one chick from school that just was a real cunt, right? That's what I'm trying to paint here. So one day, she wakes up and she's getting ready for school and she's talking to her mom. And her mom is like, now, Rebecca, we'll call her Rebecca. Now, Rebecca, don't forget, when you're walking home from school today, I need you to pick up some meat from the supermarket. And Rebecca's like, yeah, whatever, Mom. Like, whatever you say, all right? So her mom was like, all right, well, here, have some money. So her mom gives her
meat, like it's any kind of meat?
Just any kind of meat, you know?
Okay.
So she just needs some meat because they're having a family gathering later that evening, right? Because it's near Hollow's End, near Halloween. So they're having a little family get together, you know?
Okay.
And they're going to have a big family dinner. So Rebecca is tasked with going to the supermarket, getting some meat, bringing it home that her mom can cook up for the big old dinner later on in that evening. So her mom gives her the money. And Rebecca's like, whatever. And she goes to school. And you know what she does, guys? You know what she does? She spends that money on cigarettes in the bathroom.
Ooh.
All right, this story is already getting way too scary. Should have bought a vape. No, all right, the story's getting way too scary for some people. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, so she spends the money on cigarettes. Anyway, school eventually ends. And Rebecca is walking home when she realizes, oh my God, I was supposed to buy that meat at the supermarket on the way home from school. What do I do? What do I do? Now, in that moment, she looked around and she noticed that the local cemetery near her house, they were having a burial there. And the people were lowering down a person in their little coffin into the ground. They were surrounding the hole, crying, weeping, and she got an idea. She got a brilliant idea. What she did is she hid in the bushes and she waited and waited until eventually the people dispersed, leaving this open hole that was going to be filled up in a few moments or whatever. And that's what she thought. But the point is, the people walk away and they leave this open hole with a coffin down below, buried in it, and the shovel nearby. So what she does, Crendor, this is what she does.
Okay.
She walks over to the gravesite, looks around to make sure she makes sure that no one's watching, and she hops down into the hole, opens up the coffin, and there is an old man who has recently died. Now, his skin is still on him. He just recently died. Clearly he just recently died. He's still intact, and she gets this idea. So she reaches up and she grabs the shovel that was going to be used to bury him the rest of the way. She flips him over in his coffin, and she cuts off his ass. She cuts off his ass. All right, now I know this is getting really scary, but you need to calm down, all right?
All right, I'm sorry.
So what she does, she finds a plastic bag nearby, a bunch of litter. God, people littering in graveyards, disgusting. Anyway, she finds a plastic bag and she puts the ass inside the bag, right? And she takes it home and she offers it to her mom, and she's like, here's the meat. And her mom's like, oh, well done, Rebecca. I guess you're not going to military school after all. So Rebecca's like, yeah. So she goes upstairs to smoke her cigarettes, all while her mother down below prepares the ass into a scrumptious meal for her and her family to eat.
Wait, eventually, did her mom not ask about like what kind of meat it was?
No, dude. She trusted her daughter like a good mommy should.
Yeah, but when you like look at it, be like, dude, what the shit is this? Is this like a human ass?
Dude, no, dude. That's not how it works. Dude, her mom, she couldn't see well.
Okay, all right.
God, don't be so blind phobic or whatever.
I didn't mean to.
Okay, so anyway, the point is that she goes upstairs and eventually her mom calls her down for dinner because her family has arrived. Everyone's seated at the table. They're all laughing, having a good time. Dinner is served. This scrumptious meatloaf is prepared out of the ass. And Rebecca just sits there, oh my God, realizing what she's done. Everybody's chowing down, eating the ass. And Rebecca just sits there and starts saying, oh, I don't really feel too good, Mom. Like, I don't think I'm going to eat anything. My stomach's bothering me. Her mom's like, okay, well, you know what, Rebecca? You are a good girl. You don't got to eat anything. And Rebecca retreats up into her room, leaving her family to eat the ass down below. Later that evening, Crendor, Rebecca, she felt terrible for what she had done. So she laid in her bed thinking about her misdeeds, when all of a sudden, there was a sound from her closet. The door slowly creaked open, and there, standing in the doorway, was the old man. But it was his ghost, but he was lacking one thing: his ass.
Whoa.
He looked at her, and she looked at him. She wanted to scream, but her voice got caught in her throat, and he slowly made his way towards her. She said, what do you want? And he said, my ass. My ass. Give me back my ass. And that's when her screams echoed all throughout the house, screaming in pure terror as the ghostly hands wrapped themselves around her neck as she flailed around, screaming for her parents to help. Her parents then beat down the locked door, came into the room, and found her there, on the ground, bloody and dead, her ass having been taken by the assless ghost. The moral of the story, kids, is that if you steal an ass from another person, they will come back, they will get their revenge, and they will reclaim the ass that is theirs.
Damn.
Dude, so there's some background to that story.
Wait, there's background to it.
Dude, this is a real story, man. This actually kind of happened.
Okay, do tell.
Dude, so my parents had like this friend in church who I didn't know really well. And one day my mommy and daddy were like, oh, do you want to go? Let's call the lady Claire. They were like, oh, do you want to go with Claire and her son that you've never met to go see the Disney movie Tarzan in the movie theater? And I was like, hell yeah, I want to go see Tarzan. And so we went and saw Tarzan, even though I had already seen it in theaters once already with my dad. So I went and saw like Tarzan with Phil Collins. Put your faith in what you must believe in. and then we got out and we went back to this lady's house, and it was me, her, and her son. And we were sitting in the backyard, and she said, oh, do you two boys want to hear a scary story? And I was like, yeah. She's like, no, it's a really scary story. You sure? I was like, yeah. And she's like, all right. And then she told us that story, and I've never forgotten it. I was just a young, impressionable youth imagining an entire family eating ass.
Wait, this explains so much.
Yeah.
So, first off, this is a woman from church.
Yeah, dude.
Okay. Was this like Halloween, or is this like the middle of July?
Dude, I don't remember when Disney's Tarzan was in theaters. I have to look it up.
I'm going to look it up right now.
I knew you. I was going to do it, but I knew you would because Disney of boundless curiosities.
Release date.
Yeah, when did it come out in
theaters? June 18th, 1999.
But is that when it came out on like in theaters or like on DVD?
I think theater. Let's see. Theater release date. Yeah, it's looking like that's when it was. June.
All right.
Yep.
What was it? 1998?
June 18th, 1999.
1999. So I was 7 years old at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it was like sometime in the middle of the year. She told us that scary story.
It was in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
Like, was there any like just like walk into the room like, hey kids?
No, we were in the backyard. We were sitting around a campfire in the backyard, and it was late at night. And my mom was taking her time to come and pick us up, or to come and pick me up.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting around this fire at night, and then she was like, oh, we should tell scary stories. You boys want to hear a scary story? It's like, yeah. And she was smoking a cigarette the whole time, and yeah. She wasn't a very good Christian lady. Well,
at least it's got a little more substance. I thought it was just like you're playing in the backyard on like a summer's day, and she's like, you boys want to hear a story? Not like, okay, at least it's at nighttime. There's like a fire and everything.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
Thanks for the story.
Okay. There are some other I don't know if I should say this on the recording.
Okay.
Should I? I'm gonna say it. Dude, I remember one time I was at my brother's house and I was really young, and there was this lady there with her daughter, and like, you know what? I'm not gonna say anything else. Let's just put it this way: some like really scary shit happened. Okay.
Okay.
Like it made like me and my brother look at each other, and we were like, "Is this lady okay?"
You can tell me after this video.
I'll tell you after. Okay. All right. All right. It's a little extreme, guys. All right.
Okay.
It's a little extreme.
All right. Well, I guess it's my turn.
Crendor's turn. All right. I'm ready, dude. Scare me.
All right.
Were you scared by my story?
I was pretty scared, but also intrigued.
All right, good. I was scared. I was scared but curious.
So this is the story of Little William and the WoW expansion.
Oh, great. Oh, let me guess. It's Warlords of Draenor?
No. So there was one day, Little William was very excited for the new.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I know, it's scary.
All right.
He was very excited for the new WoW expansion. He'd been wanting to play the expansion for so long, and finally, it was his time to be able to play it. He went to the store, and he was like, hey, I'd like to buy the WoW expansion. And they're like, all right, that'll be this amount of money. And he's like, here you go. He gave the clerk the money. The clerk was like, here you go. This is our last copy. But remember, install it before midnight. So Little William was like, all right, as long as I install this before midnight, I'm going to be okay. So he went home, and then his friends called him up, and they were like, yo, dude, we're playing some Halo. Come on over. And he was like, all right. Well,
hell yeah.
Gotta go play some Halo.
Scary.
Gotta go play some Halo. So he went over. Yeah, he played some Halo with his friends. They were going crazy, and he's like, dude, you want to sleep over? And he was like, yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, so they had a sleepover. He's like, all right. And then he remembered at 2 a.m., he was supposed to install that WoW expansion. And so he was like, I think everything should be fine. Everything should be fine. So he didn't, he paid it no mind. He's like, all right, played some more Halo. They ate some snacks, and they went to sleep, woke up. And he's like, hey, his mom picked him up, went home. And he's like, all right, I'm going to install this new WoW expansion. It was a snow day. So this is the perfect time to install a new WoW expansion. And he installed it, and it wouldn't work. And he was like, all right, maybe it just broke or something. So he wrote a ticket to Blizzard, and then he was like, Dear Blizzard, hello, it is me, William. I am trying to install this new World of Warcraft expansion, but it isn't working. If you could help me, that would be fantastic. William, submit. He submitted that ticket. Player.
Figure out how to install an expansion.
So he waited around for that ticket, and the ticket was never answered. And he was like, all right, I'm just waiting for my ticket. And he's like, all right, maybe I should return the game. And he took the WoW expansion, he boxed it up, and he went back to the game store. But the game store was closed. It was out of business.
Oh, no.
And he was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll keep it. So he went back home, and he tried talking to his parents, but his parents wouldn't acknowledge him. And he was like, hello? And they would just watch TV. They wouldn't look at him. And he was like, all right, and he kept walking around. He didn't see people looking at him. Nobody acknowledged him anymore. And he started to freak out. And he's like, maybe I'll go with my friends. I just, played Halo with them. And he went over to their house, and he rang the doorbell, and they answered. And he's like, yo, what's up, guys? And they were like, who's here? Nobody was there. And he was like, oh, my God. I'm either invisible or I'm dead. And so he's like, all right, there's got to be something I can do. So he went back onto his computer, and he logged into World of Warcraft. And he used his Hearthstone in-game when he logged in. And everything around him changed and morphed to what was in that game. And it was one of the scariest moments of his life. Do you know what it was?
Wait, you're saying that everything morphed into the game? Like the real life world
turned into WoW. The game combined together.
Shit. And it became Star Wars Galaxies.
No. even worse.
Oh, no.
Garrisons.
Ah! Stop it!
And
Stop
from
it!
that moment on,
Stop
he
it!
has had to be in a garrison
Ah!
from this day until the end of his life.
Ah!
He's
Stop it!
still in those mines, farming black rock and true iron deposits every day.
What about the herb farm?
He's
Say it
doing
ain't
it.
so.
He's
No!
still farming herbs
No!
to this very day.
Ah! Ah!
Sorry.
Oh my God! God! Stop it!
Sorry.
Stop
I shouldn't have. I should have told you that one after stream.
God, dude, fuck, man.
Yeah.
You got to give a warning before you talk about garrisons like that.
I know.
That's just scary.
When you brought up Warlords of Draenor, I almost thought you gave it away, but...
Oh my God, I thought you were about to talk about it again.
No. Yeah, that's my story.
That's a pretty good story, yeah. I'll give it an 8 out of 8, mate.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, mate. Hey, well done. Round of applause for Crendor.
Hey, thank you.
There you go.
You got any other stories?
Oh, man. Well, I was going to ask you this, because I came prepared with that one story.
Okay.
And I figured you had one story. But I was going to ask you this. What is the scariest thing that ever happened in your entire life? Something that sort of pertains to the supernatural, preferably.
That's a good question, actually. Hold on. I might have to think about it a bit. I know there's some things.
Okay.
Do you have one that you thought about?
Yeah, I've got one. I told this in a Planet Dolan story once, but it is a true story. I was I don't remember how old I was or where my parents went off to, but I remember I was home alone back at my mother's house, my mother and father's home, and it was late at night, and I think maybe my parents had gone to visit my grandparents for a little while, and I'd been left home alone for like 2 or 3 days. I think that's what it was, but I don't remember. It's been a long time. Anyway, the point is, I'm like really young, and I'm home by myself. It was one of my first times like being alone at home for like longer than 24 hours. And I remember it was sometime late at night, and I was watching YouTube videos. And I'm watching YouTube videos, and hold on, I'm trying to remember the entirety of the story. Kind of having like a mind hiccup at the moment. I remember I was watching YouTube videos, and I thought I heard a noise in the kitchen. And yeah, I thought I heard a noise in the kitchen, and I immediately like froze, and I paused the video I was listening to, and I just listened for a second. And I waited for a few minutes, and then eventually I got up, and I just kind of mustered up some bravery, and I went and I walked down the hallway, looked out towards the kitchen. I didn't see anything. So, I made my way down the hall again. I walked into the kitchen area, and there was nothing there. Nothing was out of the ordinary. But I was really scared. So what I did is I got one of like the knives that you would use to like chop up meat with or whatever, one of those big kitchen knives, and I took it with me back to my bedroom. And I'm in my bedroom sitting there, and I sit down on the chair, and I go back to watching YouTube videos, and one of the videos ends, and right when it ended, I remember on my door, my bedroom door was closed and it was locked. And on my bedroom door right then were these 3 incredibly loud knocks. Like bang, bang, bang. Like so much it shook the door, and it scared the shit out of my cat that was laying on my bed at the time. And it scared the hell out of me. And I was like, dude, someone's in my house, like trying to bang into my, into my bedroom.
Yeah.
And I just froze. And I just grabbed that knife, and I just stood there and held it and just stared at the door. I probably stared at it for like an hour, just looking at the door. But it sounded, to give an equivalent of how loud it was almost like somebody threw like 3 baseballs against my wooden door. and it was loud, and I was terrified. And eventually, I opened the door after a long while, and I walked through the house, and there was nobody in there, and all the doors were still locked. And I was like, wow, that was terrifying to say the least. And yeah, and then I remember I called my mom and I told her what happened. And oh, I got a thing. Neat. I called my mom and I told her what happened, and she didn't believe me. And I was like, oh, okay. So, but there's like a quick little short story.
And that was just like nothing ever happened again after that.
Things did happen, yes, but I don't want to go too much into all that because it'd be a very, very long story in that case.
I see.
A lot of things like that happened in that house.
Damn.
Yeah.
I know there's one time we went to like this place in the middle of nowhere, like Illinois. It was like the far northwest Illinois, like on the river. It's like it was like where Ulysses Grant had a house or some shit. I don't know why we went there, but then they were like, this is like one of the most haunted places in Illinois. And we were like, okay. And there was like a tour of like all these ghost things. And they're like, oh, over here is it's like some Tomatoes restaurant, and it used to be an orphanage. And they're like, okay, so we went into the orphanage, or the restaurant it was now, and we like walked upstairs, and they're like, yep, this is where a lot of the orphans were and stuff and whatever. And like there were these creepy statues there. And I remember I was like, I think like 11 years old, and I remember because like I looked at one of them, and it was like one of the weirdest feelings like I ever got. It was just like somebody was watching you. And I never even got that before. Like, you know, if you like go into like a dark room or something, you're like, oh, there might be ghosts around or something. It was like a legit, like, somebody's watching me feeling. Like, it was just really weird. And I was like, okay. And then we went downstairs, and we were like walking by this one air vent, and it smelled like cigar smoke. And I was like, oh, somebody's smoking a cigar? Or like, I think somebody else asked it. And they're like, no, nobody's smoking a cigar. And they're like, oh yeah, sometimes, just for no reason, people will smell cigar smoke right in this area. There's like, there's an air vent there, but the air vent like leads to just like the typical like air conditioning thing or the heat, like whatever it is. Like there's no reason you should smell cigar smoke from it. Like they've tried to figure it out, and there's like literally nothing, like nobody's smoking cigars in the area or anything. And they're just like, yeah, it just it happens. And so that building, it's like I don't know, that building freaked me out. That building was like the reason I believed in ghosts and stuff.
Okay.
So,
have you ever had like something supernatural or paranormal happen like on your own property, like in a home that you're living in or something?
I've never had anything happen on my own property, no. I remember my grandpa had a story where like he used to live in his old house, like in the country, and he remembers being a kid, and he saw like an old Civil War guy in the hallway, and he just like walked into a room and then disappeared. But I've never actually seen any crazy shit like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was just curious. I mean, I tend to find that if you ask people, like, oh, you ever had like something kind of paranormal happen to you at some point in your life? Everybody always says like, yeah, let me tell you about it.
Yeah.
Everyone has like that one story.
Yeah.
You know, where they just encountered something odd, which I think is pretty cool. I like hearing those sorts of stories.
I do too. I think it's because it's no, it's like something you don't really talk about that much, I guess.
I think it's because it's kind of, you know, frowned upon in society, you know? You know, because it makes it sound like you're crazy.
I heard voices, and they're like,
I heard the
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure you did.
Sure you did. Yep.
But it's, I know I used to watch all those ghost shows, but even the ghost shows are obviously, like, pretty fake now.
Yeah. Well, like, fun fact about me, I mean, I actually used to do ghost hunting when I was younger.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, I actually like went to places and did ghost hunting, and the reason why I got into it. It was me and my friends. To keep a long story short and simple, a lot of like crazy things would happen back at my mother's home. And I would tell my friends about it. And I would say, dude, like there's like some freaky stuff happening in this house. And they wouldn't believe me. And then I brought, it started with my friend Tate. I brought him over and I showed him some of the things that were happening and like some of the stuff that I had captured on camera and like some of the audio that I had also gotten on camera as well. And it scared the tar out of him. And then we did our own little experiments in the home and we found like more things. And then I showed my friend David and like other friends as well. And eventually like me and Tate really took an interest in it. And we started like going to like abandoned homes in like the local area and doing like recording sessions at night there and so on and so forth. And that was really fun. It was a very interesting time in my life, and we had a lot of really cool experiences while doing that, which, you know, if I told them right now, like no one would believe me, but that's fine. I mean, it's like, you know, you weren't there.
Yeah. Well, what's like the craziest thing you saw?
The craziest thing I saw,
or heard, or like whatever.
Yeah, hold on, let me think about that for a second.
It's like, you see all these shows and stuff where they're like, I hear a voice, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're like, it's like Old Man Johnson.
It's Old Man Johnson. Yeah, I don't really like those shows. Because I mean, I guess as someone who's actually done that shit, I'm like, man, this is so fake. Like,
yeah,
this ain't real. One of the freakiest things I saw, I mean, I guess once you kind of get into that mindset of like, this isn't supernatural, this is just natural, it's just something happening. It's like no different than seeing a rabbit, you know, like when you like see something on camera, or like you know, maybe like in the beginning you start with like the whole if you're familiar with like orbs, you start with orbs and then you eventually you're like, oh, the orbs, but it could be dust, and then eventually you kind of move into like seeing like full body things. I know for a fact if I was to dig deep enough in my attic, I could find my old videotapes from my my handheld camera, and I still have all the footage that we got. I think the most significant thing that I can think of, just something that just immediately stands out in my mind, is we were in this house, and I remember we were doing a little bit of like EVP recording, me and Tate. And what we did is we took the camera and we set it up in the corner of this room, and then we left. We left the room and we went and walked around outside for like 10 minutes. And then we came back. Well, it probably wasn't that long. It was like 5 minutes. Then we came back and we picked up the camera and we replayed the tape, and we just listened to like what we could hear. And there was this voice that kept saying, why is the door locked? Why is the door locked? And there was a door in that, you know, house that was locked in that room, and you couldn't open it. And we just kept getting a voice saying, why is this door locked? Why is the door locked? And that was like, I remember that really scared Tate, even though Tate had like, you know, been doing this with me for a little while. Like something about that really scared him. And he was like, dude, like, I don't know, man. Like that was the most clear like voice we've ever got, and I don't think we should be here. Because sometimes it's very like distorted. It's like, and you might kind of hear something, but you got to kind of like, you know, you kind of, admittingly, you got to use your imagination a little bit, but sometimes you get that really clear stuff. And especially when it's being said over and over and over, like 3 or 4 times, you're like, yeah, okay, like this is not just wind. This is clearly like a voice of some kind. So
and that's what's so creepy about it, is like it's kind of like unexplainable, and it's like, is it like a human that died? Is it just like random energy? Is it like you don't really know what it is, and that makes it so creepy? But like the fact that it would know that a door is locked is like it has some form of intelligence or something.
I have my theories, but I don't really want to get into them like on a recording, because it is like it's a massive subject. You know, but yeah, you know, it does make you kind of wonder, like, you know, what are you dealing with? Is it a ghost of a person? Is it something else potentially? You don't know.
Coming this January, Nixxiom Ghost Exploration.
Dude, if Crendor comes to my house, I don't care when it is, or if I go up there, we will go ghost hunting.
I'd be down for that. I've actually always wanted to go ghost hunting.
It's a lot of fun. The only thing that I would tell like Tate and my friend David, because David went with me one time and then he never went again because it scared him too much. You need to, if you're gonna deal with ghosts, and this is the one thing that I don't like about shows like Ghost Hunters and stuff, is they treat ghosts like there's something different, like there's some sort of like they're an oddity. Yeah. Like, if you're in here, make a noise. It's like no, you're talking to a person. You know, like you need to treat them like you're talking to like a person, like as if they're just in the room with you. Like, hey, what's up? How's it going? But talk in a more like calm and slow and easily understood, respectful manner. And usually when that was done, that is when you'd kind of get the best results. So yeah, avoid Ouija boards though, guys. Don't mess with Ouija boards.
Yeah, I would not even want to mess with a Ouija board like ever. I've heard like crazy stories with that too.
Yeah,
I remember there was a story we like heard in school, and it was like this guy and his like I think it was his daughters or something were playing around with a Ouija board, and like I don't know what they did, but like after they'd played with it for like a few days, and they're like, okay, whatever, they started having crazy shit just happen, like knives floating around, like hearing voices, like having their hair pulled, like just a bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my friend Ben, this is a massive story, but he before he moved to Texas to go to A&M, he had a lot of things happen to him in his house that he was staying in at the time, and it was interesting because Ben knew that I, you know, back in the day used to like really like I was really into this sort of stuff, and you know, I studied it and I participated in it because I thought it was interesting. I like the idea of exploring the unknown, whether it's like a forest that nobody's been in or a subject that not too many people are comfortable with exploring. I find that interesting. And he started having some stuff happen, and he actually called me and told me about it one day. And I went to his house, and we didn't really do like ghost hunting. I sort of spent some time there with him, and we sort of worked things out. Let's just leave it at that. So yeah, but yeah, I did that for about 2 years, I would say, back in like late high school and after high school, me and Tate. Maybe one day I can get Tate on a Crendor and Nixxiom episode, because, you know, I talk about Tate a lot, and I'll sneak him in one time.
Oh, yeah.
And him and Tate will confirm everything I'm saying. It's like, dude, yeah, shit. Like the Jenny ghost. Like, we'll talk about the Jenny ghost for a while.
Damn, the Jenny ghost.
Yeah, Jenny was a big one. We called her Jenny.
Is it I'm kind of curious too, like when you do the ghost hunting stuff, like I take it you spend a lot of time just like sitting there not getting anything, right?
Depends on the spot. It depends on the spot. You can kind of, I don't know, like it's hard to describe, but kind of, yeah. Like kind of in the beginning, yes, I would say. It's sort of like about building that. I hate to use the word, but trust. Like, oh, you can talk to me. I mean, I've even done like this sort of stuff by myself before. Like, I've just gone off on my own, like in the middle of the night, with just a camera, and that's it. And I've done that intentionally because I feel like if it's just me, whatever like me and Tate had found in that place would be more willing to talk to just an individual than a group, like me and another person.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of good stuff because of that. It's all about, in my opinion, there's this theory that, you know, lots of horror movies like to use, and people push it, like that bad spirits feed off fear. and they grow powerful because of fear. So going in there by yourself and just kind of putting your feet down and saying, I'm here, talk to me if you want. I sort of feel that if that theory is true, which, it's probably not, but if it is true, my idea is that, I'm not giving it anything because I'm there. It's just me. So, but yep. It was 2 years, man. Two years of my life, and I do not regret it. It was a lot of fun, and it made me question a lot of things, and it made Tate question a lot of things, and it was cool having that, sharing those experiences with him and talking about them in school and talking to the grown-ups about it at the time. Like, hey, Mom, you ever had something like this happen before? I tried to show my mom one time some of our footage, but, she was a very strong Christian lady, and as soon as she saw some of the stuff me and Tate had gotten on film, she did not want to see anymore.
Wow.
She was like, no, don't show me any more of that. Like, as soon as she heard, like, the voices talking and she would see, like, the apparitions, she was like, no. Like...
That is, I mean, even like no matter what that's still like a creepy thing to see.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is creepy.
Do you ever?
I'm not trying to. I mean, listen. Before anybody gets the wrong impression, even when I went like by myself to do things, like I was scared shitless. I mean, dude, I'm walking into an abandoned house in the middle of the night. First of all, there's the fear of the police. Yeah. There's that. There's the fear of what the fuck is in here. Right,
be like a homeless dude with a knife.
A homeless
or some
dude.
Shit.
Like Crendor might be in there.
Yeah,
like,
I might be in there. Get out of my house.
Get out of my house, fool. Here's one. Dude, here was one thing. This is nothing supernatural, but one time, speaking of homeless people, I took my friend Mike from high school to do this sort of stuff, and we went to a home near my mother's house that was abandoned in the woods. Where me and Tate had gone plenty of times, and we had some, success there. And we go there late at night, and we're walking through this house, and it's destroyed. Like, this house is about to collapse in on itself. But it was a really interesting home because it had a tiny stairway, like, hidden in the walls that led up into the attic. And we're walking through there with our flashlights and stuff, and we can hear a noise upstairs. And I was like, dude, and it didn't sound like a, some sort of ghosty noise, like a bump in the night. It sounded like legit footsteps, and they'd happen for a little bit and then they'd stop. And I wasn't sure what to make of it at first, until eventually, Mike leaned into the little like stairway that, like led up into the attic, and he shined his flashlight up there, and I was looking over his shoulder. And there was a guy just standing up there in the attic. It was like this like homeless guy, big old beard, and he was just looking down at us, and he was like, "What are you two boys doing here?" We were like, "Oh, nothing." And then we just walked away and left. So, but yeah, he was just like standing there in the middle of the night. It was like rain outside. It was great.
That's so crazy. I mean, he's probably just some dude like, "Hey, get out of my house."
Yeah, he's like, "I'm sleeping here. Go away."
Yeah.
So that house was cool. It also had a basement too. Like, it had a stairway, and you'd walk down to the basement. It was full of garbage. So I mean, at night, you'd be in the basement of this home, and it was dark. Like, my God.
Yeah.
Like it was dark.
Would you ever be worried about like it's either like a homeless person like stabbing me? That was the one thing, but the other thing would be like, what if the ghost or whatever it is like followed you home or something?
Yeah. Sometimes you want the ghosts to follow you home.
What?
That's what I'll say to that. Sometimes you invite them to follow you.
Oh.
Probably not the answer you're expecting, but okay. Yeah, I don't want to go too much into that. But sometimes you might want them to follow you.
Bring them home, meet the family.
Yeah, why not?
Hey, it's going. You want anything to drink?
Not every spirit's a negative one.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, not every spirit is like some big old spooky monster that wants to kill you. Something straight out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
Some of them can be kind of friendly and nice.
Like Casper, the friendly ghost.
Exactly. That's right. Exactly. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man.
Um,
Do you have any other stories? Like just maybe anything weird you might have thought of while I was talking?
um,
Aside from like the cigar house or the cigar smells house?
I'm trying to think of stuff, but there's never been anything like like or abnormal that's ever happened to me that I've been like, shit, dude, like that's crazy. Like, I don't know. I've almost wanted it to happen at times, and like, because I've always been interested in ghosts and stuff. So I mean, if I saw something like a bottle just like turn like and like nothing around it, I'd be like, oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I've never. I know another friend of mine. They had a thing where their mom was like working at a restaurant, and they like went to turn off they're like closing, so they're like, okay, I gotta go turn the lights off and like shut everything down. And they like walked into the dining room, and then they walked back to the kitchen, and the lights they turned off had turned back on. And they were like, okay, and then they turned them off again. And then they got in the next morning, and the lights were back on, and the coffee pot was like turned around, and they were just like, nobody's here. Like, nobody could have turned the lights on. Nobody would have touched the coffee pot. Like, it was just another like weird thing. And some people were like, yeah, we've had like weird experiences happen here too. So I'm pretty sure that had something going on.
I've never had anything with like lights happen before. Aside from light bulbs popping. Not like exploding, but like sometimes if I was to say something like, oh, can you make a noise? You know, you ever hear like a light bulb like pop where it goes like,
yeah,
like that? Like that's a familiar noise that I would hear sometimes. Also, like, you know, of course, you know, your wall taps and stuff like that, like bump in the wall. Very clear, like knock. So, but I've never had any encounters with like lights or anything like that. I'm not that cool, you know. Most of the stuff that I can talk about have been like simple noises, light pops, bumps, the sound of footsteps in like certain places, dreams sometimes, not mine, but other people's. And yeah, that's a big subject though. Yeah. I've met a lot of people from like around the world in my time traveling, and I said it earlier. I mean, I'm not really the kind of personality where I just kind of accept like the status quo of like, oh, like this isn't real. I tend to think that if people have been talking about something for like thousands and thousands and thousands of years, like there might be something there worth looking into. And that's kind of what got me into it a little bit. And I just explored around a little bit, and I was like, oh, this is why people talk about this shit. This is why like there's so many stories and folklores and mythologies and everything talking about these things. But yeah, I don't know. I just like to explore, you know. I like to I mean, I've been to like Cameroon, Africa, and you know, they have a lot of like where I was in Cameroon, they do a lot of witch doctor work around there. That was interesting. I didn't really get to witness any of it, but I heard a lot about it. The idea of like summoning spirits to heal people and yada yada yada. So whether or not like I mean, I don't know if I believe in that necessarily, but I mean, I do find it interesting nonetheless just to hear about it. Because I mean, I do like just learning about different cultures and beliefs. I think it's interesting. I don't know. You know, I've been all across Europe, and of course, Europe is known for their fairy folk, leprechauns, elves, kobolds, dwarves, gnomes. You know, the land spirits that dwell in Europe. In Japan, they have the kodama, and yeah, I mean, like the list goes on. Like every culture in the world believes in like spirits, and I just found that interesting. And as I traveled around the world, I got to see that and talk to people who had encounters with these sorts of spirits, and I was like, oh, and I could kind of relate. So there's my story.
Well, damn. I mean, I didn't expect to go from spooky stories to like some in-depth spirit talk.
Well, I figured it'd be a good place to go to. I mean,
it was. I'm not saying it's bad. I didn't expect to do it, but I'm glad it did.
Yeah. I mean, I figured it'd be like it's a spooky subject, so why not?
And I'm sure a lot of people in the comments will have their stories too.
Oh yeah. I can already read the comments like Nixxiom's crazy. It's like, yep.
There's gonna be comments of like the one guy who's like, "Here's my story."
Oh yeah,
like a big paragraph.
Well, like I said, I have found that, like in all the people that I've met, every single time I talk to someone, and I'm like, "Hey, you ever like had anything like this happen to you before? Or something you couldn't explain, a supernatural experience, or maybe a miracle, like a religious miracle or something?" Everyone always has a story, and I just like listening to those stories. And I just for a little while, me and my friends went out looking to make stories of our own. Rather than waiting for them to come to us, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And yeah, but like I said, man, you ever want to go ghost hunting? Hit me up.
Hell yeah, I'm ready. I'll go.
We'll go ghost hunting. We'll look for what else is out there too.
Yeah, then we'll film it and put it onto the internet.
Make a YouTube video. Real ghost hunters.
IRL live stream.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
That would actually be pretty fun.
Yeah, dude. We'll have like, dude, it'd be so scary. Like we'll walking in like an old abandoned house, and we'll be like, "Oh, what's that? A skeleton!" Oh no, it's just Asmongold.
Hey, Asmongold just pops up, and he's like, "Azurite gear is bad."
He's eating Wendy's. Yeah, Azurite gear is bad. Yeah, like get out of here, Asmongold. Go away. Go back to streaming. Okay. That would be scary. Like, damn.
That would be spooky.
Yeah.
All right,
man. Unless you got something else, I mean, we could call it here if you want.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to wrap. It's been a little over 50 minutes. Pretty good. Pretty solid.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed me and Crendor's scary stories and me reminiscing about my younger days.
Yeah. And if you got any spooky stories, leave them in the comments section below.
That's right. Any kind of like oddities that maybe you've encountered in your life, something you just couldn't really explain or put your finger on. You're just like, huh, that's weird.
Yeah.
You know, that's interesting. Those stories are, they're cool. They're cool to read. They're cool to listen to. They're enticing.
Yeah.
I think so.
I agree. I think it's always fun to just hear about the unknown and stuff like that. So, again, leave those comments and subscribe to us. Smash like button. Smash the like button. All right, both our videos. You better go to both videos and smash the like button on both.
If this video can just get 10 likes, guys, me and WoWcrendor will record another episode of the Upright Orc Challenge.
You know what? I'm going to take it a step further. If this video gets 15 likes, I'm going to like somebody's comment in the comment section.
Dude, if this video can just get 50 likes, Crendor will gift 50 subs to my Twitch channel.
All right.
What?
We're done here.
Okay, I guess we're done. That's right. That is going a little too far. I agree.
All right. Yeah, that's too far.
Okay.
All right.
But hit that like button.
Yes.
All right, guys.
Smash that like button.
That's right. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Always a pleasure. Have a very scary October, everybody. Enjoy your Halloweens, and Crendor, last word.
See.